States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We are now on item D, adoption of the agenda. Do I have any motions?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are now on call to the public, but unfortunately, everyone wants to be quiet tonight, so we don't have anyone wanting to speak to us. We will move on to item 3, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Lopman.
Thank you, President Knorr. In the past 4 weeks, I've had the privilege of meeting a variety of stakeholders: parents, business owners, seniors, the Chief of Police, American Legion Auxiliary, and Chairman Miguel of the Ak-Chin Indian community. To a person, each stakeholder has expressed their support of our district and a desire to partner in meeting the needs of our students and the entire community. As the new kid on the block, I am clearly enjoying the benefits of our board's presence in Maricopa. You've paved the way for a seamless transition and a bright future of rich creativity and collaboration. I'd like to celebrate the work of our Human Resources Department. We are pleased to report that only 6 vacancies remain unfilled at this time. We're currently 98% staffed, fully staffed at the elementary and middle schools. And until we are 100% staffed, it is all hands on deck with Mr. Beckett, the HR staff, and principals exhausting every avenue to recruit and hire the best and brightest for our students. I look forward to providing an inspiring update at our next board meeting. With our abbreviated summer, preparation for new teachers' arrival and all staff professional development is finalized. We hope you have marked your calendar for the back-to-school celebration for the morning of July 20th. We're looking forward to setting the tone for a phenomenal first day and a stellar school year to follow. And the first day of school is July 23rd. That's earlier than normal.
Yeah.
So set a reminder on your phone. Yes. Before we get there, the board has a budget proposal to consider tonight and over the next couple weeks. Karen Honeycutt will formally present the proposal later in our meeting. Prior to her report, I'd like to offer some insight behind the budget proposal. The proposal tonight is based on the input and recommendations of a variety of stakeholder groups listed there who assembled in various committees over the past several months. We sought input that represented a variety of perspectives: community members, parents, businesses, volunteers, teachers, classified staff, and school and district administration. In this list, I've illuminated, that you can see on the slide there, I've illuminated how the recommendations from just one of those committees, the Budget Advisory Committee, was captured in the budget proposal. Know that the proposed budget also reflects the input of the other committees and employee groups listed on the slide. We are committed to transparency in the budgeting process. I hope these details provide insight into the development of the proposed budget for your consideration. That concludes my report.
Great, thank you. We're now on item 4, governing board member reports. Mrs. Catre, would you like to start?
Well, it's been fun with the summer, and it's kind of glad that they are starting early, at least in my household. We did have to go on the Summer Leadership Institute up in Flagstaff, a wonderful conference. It reminded me back to the days when I first started attending. They really focused on building that leadership with the keynote speakers and the breakout sessions. And I've got to gather all my notes, and I'll send it to you guys as well. And then we also had a wonderful opportunity to really get to know Dr. Lopman, which was it was fun. I really enjoyed it. The weather was great. The conference was great, and I'm glad to be back doing school board stuff.
Great, thank you. Mrs. Anderson?
I love summer, so I'm enjoying the whole time because my kids are working. So I have the house to myself, which is nice. 7 days a week, mind you. I let them work every day. Let them, you notice how I said that? The conference was great in Flagstaff, and it was nice to be able to be with other board members, our amazing superintendent, and also share and see what other districts are doing. So it was, again, an eye-opening experience for me that our district really is rocking it. And our board is a very highly motivated and effective board when I see different organizations around the state. So thank you to the board members. But it was, ASBA did a great job this year. And I just want to put a plug in for our delegate assembly, which is in September, and then our legislative workshop, or the law conference, which is also in September. So those are the next things coming up. I hope that we can all get to that. And there's a lot of new legislation and laws coming down that are effective, as actually one of them is effective in August, that affects the open meeting law. So it's interesting, and I'm looking forward to the next, 4 weeks of summer, maybe? So anyway, that's it.
Great, thank you. Dr. Miller?
Yes, first I would like to thank, and I'm very grateful for our high school football coaches, the new staff. I know this summer they're working really hard with the students on the field, and I believe this year we have like 31 freshmen coming in. And so if you would have seen the Desert Wind Maricopa Wells football for first and second place, we have a bright future for our high school. And I know that we have a new coach, Coach Harris, and he's doing an excellent job in getting all the new coaches to work together and the athletes to work together. And I know that right now they're doing some 7-on-7s, and so I know they're really busy. So I know that takes a lot of time this summer, and the students are really working really hard to kind of get the weights. And some people, it'll be the first time in the weight room, so it's you don't come in with slides and sandals and work out. So there's also a lot of learning, that our students are doing. So that's been going on, and very thankful for that. And as some of you know, that, and sorry for no eye contact, so it's just best if I just read it, that, about 4 years ago, I was asked to run for the governing board, and it was after a successful campaign, I began serving the community with an innovative team that's up here. They're dynamic community leaders. Personally, I am grateful for the experiences we have shared and the growth we have seen in our district. Being a voice to help improve student access to behavioral health services within MUSD, among other things, was especially rewarding for me to engage in. And also, as a team, it wasn't really, I was just a voice, but I think we were all voices in a lot of things that we've worked for in order to help improve our district. And also, it's particularly exciting to welcome Dr. Lopman, and whose expertise in strategic thinking, skillful planning, and vision are sure to accelerate the growth of our district as we're moving forward. And serving on the school board has offered priceless opportunities to connect with the community, develop personal relationships, and gain insight on the quality of leadership on our school board. Regretfully, as the needs of my children are changing, I find it necessary to make my time more available to help meet their need. I will not seek re-election in November, but will continue to serve MUSD until after the general election, when the new board member will take office. Serving our district on the governing board is a richly rewarding experience, and I encourage members of the community to consider how they may impact the students and families of our growing district. I am deeply grateful for the privilege of service, and it's been a blessing to really get to work with all you over the last 4 years, and it's been an honor to be present and to help select you. I think that going forward you're going to do an excellent job as we move forward in our district with our growth. So very blessed and thankful to serve with great people. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. And we have truly enjoyed serving with you, and I'm so grateful that you're going to serve out your term. Before I got on this board, we had a history of
Yes.
people vacating before the term was up, so I appreciate your service and commitment. You are going to be greatly missed, and I appreciate that you have to do what's best for your family, but know that you will be missed, and you have provided a lot to this board.
Yes, and I would take my oath of office very personal. So there's been a lot of opportunities that would have been nice to kind of cut it short, but that's, when I first took office, I knew it'd be 4 years. So I think it's important for that longevity. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So unfortunately, with Dr. Miller not reapplying to run, we will have an open seat on the school board, which will be elected in November. And as Dr. Miller mentioned, if you are interested in serving the district and the students in the community, the packets are available at the Pinell County Superintendent's office. And it's pretty painless. It's pretty easy to do. So I encourage anyone out there who's interested to look into it. So. Other than that, I wasn't able to attend the conference in Flagstaff because I had to go to a conference for my day job, but I am looking forward to attending the law conference in September. So, and look forward to learning about all the things you guys learned about in Patty's notes. I'm sure they're intriguing. So.
May I say one thing? The deadline to apply is August 8th for the seats.
Thank you.
It's the deadline for the signatures.
August 8th. Great. Thank you. That's important because it's coming fast. So we will now move on. We do not have any information items or work study items. We'll move on to item 6, the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are now to 7, our action items. 7A, discussion and possible approval of the personnel schedule. Mr. Beckett.
Thank you, President Knorr, members of the governing board, Dr. Lopeman. You have the personnel schedule in front of you tonight. There was one question that was raised by 2 separate board members. If it's okay, I'll just go and address that right now. And it has to do with one of our stipended positions. And I apologize, I'm going to have to take a look and see which one it was.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Thank you.
And 70,
4 and 79.
yeah,
Thank
thank you.
Number 4, number 79, obviously we have a resignation that we're asking the board to accept, again, with the conditions that are outlined in the personnel schedule. But then additionally, this individual did participate in our initial mentoring training. Unfortunately, this was off-contract hours. These are commitments that we made through the Title II grant in order to facilitate this. Again, the situation was a career advancement for this particular employee, and I do not believe they were intending to not fulfill their commitments as a mentoring. But again, I think it's our responsibility to meet this obligation. That's the reason why she has continued to be on that mentoring grant stipend.
Mr. Beckett, on that, though, I mean, we are assessing her the same amount that we're stipending her?
Yeah.
That is correct.
So is that just a wash then?
That will be probably a wash.
Thank you.
Member, yes.
So, Mr. Beckett, when was this mentoring? Is this for the spring, or is this for the summer?
That my understanding of this is being paid out of Title II from this past year. So this was commitments that we made to allow these employees right after school to be able to start this mentoring training. So this actually took place prior to this resignation. The training did. Once again, not the best case scenario. Again, we're aware of that, but again, we think we're doing the fair thing at this point.
Okay.
And I'm willing to take any other questions you have on the schedule as well.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
And I apologize, Mr. Beckett, for not emailing my question earlier, so if you don't have the information, it won't affect my decision one way or the other. But on number 17,
Yes, sir.
now, to the best of my knowledge, that's a licensed position. Now, do you know, I was just curious if this person was a licensed counselor or a licensed social worker. So I put the person's name in the board, and their name did not come up as a licensed professional.
Okay.
I was just curious if that is a licensed position and if they're licensed as a social worker or a counselor.
Well, I'm going to have to, again, Dr. Miller, I have to take a look at that. I
Sure.
don't know that application right offhand, but again,
Right.
I believe there was clear guidelines every time we do a hire that they meet minimum qualifications as outlined in the job description. And so I can go ahead and check that. Again,
I figured maybe the board website was down. It appeared to look okay because I put my name in there.
Right.
But I don't know if it's a misspelling on here. But I just wasn't able to look at that, find that person's name as a licensed professional.
Let me go ahead and do some research
Sure.
on that, and I'll email you back.
And again, this won't affect the way I did my vote, but I
All right.
discovered that today.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Beckett, I just had another question that just popped into my head, so I apologize for not asking this before now.
Not a problem.
So, this few days after school, this mentoring training, those days did not count as their makeup days when they missed the week for the walkout. This was in addition to additional days that they had to serve.
That is my understanding, Member Anderson, yes, that this employee was not using these as those makeup days.
Some
So-
people did choose, though, to
That
do
is
that.
correct,
Yes.
So they're not on this stipend list.
Those people would also have received the money for the mentoring grant as well, as far as I understand.
So I question that.
Okay?
Because they had to make up days to make up the pay, so why are we paying them if they had to make up the days? So I would like to take out this mentoring section until we can clarify that. Because if they were working their days and they chose to do that, I don't know why we're paying them the stipend.
Right.
It's kind of like double pay.
Right.
I understand that. Let me go and do some research. We'll bring it back to you in July.
Yeah, so, and I apologize for just now, I just now thought of that because it was a kind of a freaky thing that they had to come back and make up
Not a
days.
normal
Kind of a
situation.
Freaky Friday.
Right.
Well, they had several ways to make up
options.
that
Right.
time.
Right.
So
So I
I
don't-
know this was one of them.
Right, so if those that chose that as their makeup, I don't know that we should be paying them a stipend.
Right.
So can we clarify that? So I would like to move that we approve the HR schedule, taking out the stipends, the mentoring
Well,
stipend.
taking out 60 through
96.
60 through
96, yes.
Yes, taking out 60 through 96, so that would be my motion.
And
you.
before we
I would
move on, sorry, I just.
It's okay, go ahead.
Mr. Beckett, I know that Dr. Lotman had said that we are 6 teachers away from being fully staffed. I'm assuming those 6 teachers at the high school, since she said,
We have, thank you, Member Coutray. Actually, we have some special education positions that really cross all the grade levels. But yes, it's primarily the major gen ed concerns are at the high school at this point in
okay,
time.
and now that we're starting a little bit earlier, so we're going to need a plan in place then in case we don't have all 6 hired?
That is correct.
So we have a plan in place?
We're working on a plan as we speak.
Thank you.
So do I need to restate my motion?
No, your motion's
That was
good.
just discussion.
Okay.
So discussion's over?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, thank
Thank-
you.
thank you.
Thank you, Dr., or Mr. Beckett. Item 7B, discussion and possible approval of the fiscal year 19 proposed budget. Karen. Karen's going to do that for us.
President Moore, Dr. Wilson. I'm here tonight for Aaron Roush. Can you hear me?
You might want to pick
No,
it
you'll
up
need to,
so people on TV can hear you.
I'm here tonight for Aaron Roush. I'm presenting our fiscal year 19 proposed budget. He provided a PowerPoint to go along with it. You have the actual document that'll be uploaded to ADE. There has been a correction on the original document you got. There was a correction of an email address. And I noticed that I will also check Josh Judd's email address because it may be an error as well. So that would be the only changes that would be made to the actual document.
okay.
Excuse me. So to go on with the PowerPoint, this is our proposed budget. We will have an adopted budget and possibly a revision in December, and then a final revision in May, which follows the budget cycle for the whole fiscal year. We typically budget high for our proposed budget because you can always raise your budget if you have growth, but you can't raise it more than what you proposed. We have been very fortunate. For the last couple of years, we've not had to do a December budget revision, which is required when we have to revise it down. On the next page of the PowerPoint,
There you go. We're good.
They got it, they
She
got
did
it.
oh, okay. This slide shows that our proposed budget is based on 9,414.511 ADM. That's a little bit different than a head count.
Right.
We added 304 students to create this proposed budget to make it a little bit higher. They are from the last state enrollment report, and we may have to revise our budget in December, as I mentioned, for student counts, and this has been our practice in the past. It's required by law. If you have over budgeted in December, you must reduce it. If you have not, then you're okay to go ahead. The revenue changes that were made for this particular budget were $210.50 increase per ADM weighted student base for $1,980,000. The M&O fund balance carry forward $25,940. They included a 1.8 inflation factor in the increase per ADM weighted student base for $560,000. The enrollment growth with the 304 ADM weighted students comes to $1,250,000. We have an override increase because of the added enrollment of $340,000. Our expenditure changes that we are anticipating for this fiscal year is the 10% base salary increase for all certified staff, a 5% base increase for all classified staff and administrative staff, and the 5 additional base salary increase for 37 bus drivers and 3 mechanics, with those amounts reflected at the end of those lines. The enrollment growth, as we see it, will probably be 17 gen ed and 3.5 special education certified staff members for a total of $1,117,250, and other miscellaneous positions, stipends, and reclassifications for about $200,000. We're expecting this year to have an estimated budget reserve of $1.4 million. We won't know exactly what that'll be until I bring you the AFR in October, and our books are actually officially closed out. So can we go to the next slide? Okay, this is our DAA fund budget, and that's basically our capital monies that we deal with now. With regard to revenue, the state provided $1,008,000 with an override tech transfer from fiscal year 18 and 19 of $720,000. The routine miscellaneous expenditures are energy enhancements, copy leases, carpet replacement, equipment replacement, things that are your overall kind of maintenance items that the district has on an ongoing basis. There will be the purchase of 1 regular route bus and 1 special ed route vehicle for $350,000. But the federal grants have been fairly stable. We haven't seen a lot of increases or decreases. The 301 funds did increase $600,000 for fiscal year 19 in funds 11, 12, and 13. And unfortunately, the state did decrease our SCI budget this year, $50,000. The E-rate approval for fiber and equipment and upgrades are in line for fiscal year 19. We expect those to come through without any difficulty. And we'll go to the next slide. Do you have any particular questions, concerns?
Yes, I have a couple. On the DAA funds, that we have 720 that are being transferred from the override, the technology. So I'm assuming 500 of that would be the new year, and we did not spend 220,000 from this current year?
No, we did, in the current year we did, but we're going to, we spend it out of M&O, it'll be transferred over this year. It was earmarked for technology, and so it'll be moved over this year.
Okay.
We did spend it. We didn't spend it out of the override funds as it was shown reflective on our budget pages, and that's what we'll do this year.
Okay, but those override funds can only be spent on
Correct.
the technology.
Correct.
So we can't use them to be buying buses,
No.
enhancements.
No, those are in addition.
Okay, because when I look at our projected expenditures on our capital budget that we got a while ago, we had estimated $560,000 that we were going to spend on computers for this year.
We spent, I believe, over that. I can't give it to you right off the top of my head. I would have to bring back that information. But we did spend what was allocated specifically in the override to technology. Some of it was equipment. I think there was a position in there as well.
Yes, the tech liaison was part of that.
And I would have to bring you that total package back. But we did spend those funds. What we didn't do is transfer them over on the budget pages themselves, and that's what we will do this year.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because when we're asked, we have to be very transparent with those override funds, that we are spending it exactly how we promised our community that we would spend it.
Right.
And so if somebody was to look at this, they would say, why do you have $720,000 when you were supposed to spend only $500,000? So I just want to make sure that I clarified that. And then I know that the majority of the monies are going to be spent for raises. And I know I had asked Mr. Roush what it would cost to add an additional 2% to the classified. And after having a meeting with Dr. Loatman and getting some answers from Mr. Roush before he left, or actually while he was on vacation, we, at this point, can't sustain something like that because we don't know what next year is going to bring, and we want to be able to give the classified a raise next year because we know that the teachers are going to get 5%. So what I would like to do, because I'm not prepared to vote on approving a budget today, because this is our first discussion that we're having about it. But I would like to maybe consider and get some more information from Mr. Roush when he returns about the possibility of, instead of giving them a 2% raise in their base salary, what if we gave them a 2% like one-time stipend, like we've done in the past when we couldn't afford to put anything on the base, we gave them a stipend, almost like a bonus type, like a retaining bonus. Our classified staff, I know they're not teachers, but they do go above and beyond their job descriptions from time to time as they're asked to do. They don't receive 301 funds because they're not classified as teachers. They don't have to go through the rigorous evaluations like the teachers go through. But I think it would be nice if we can do this. Since we can't put it on their base, we can't give them that extra 2% on their base, that in an effort for us to close the gap and to show good faith instead of making that us against them, that we're trying to do something more for them. And so I would really like to at least have that discussion and get that information to see if we can do a one-time bonus, whatever you want to call it, for those classified staff, like we did for the teachers that one year from the settlement. We did it just for the teachers as a 1%.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Karen, I have a question on the previous slide where it says other fund and budgetary highlights, item 3. Can you just define for everybody what SEI stands for?
Oh, yeah.
Structured English immersion.
Okay. I just want everyone to know. So they decreased that by 50,000, the state did?
The state did, yes,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is
Karen-
just proposed budget. So
Correct.
even if we approve the proposed budget, we can come back and adjust it. So, the other thing I wanted to say is, out of the top 7 that the Budget Committee recommended, which overwhelmingly recommended, we've already been able to incorporate 5 of those items. So, thanks to the Budget Committee and the community that came forward, so I think we have listened extremely well to our community, and I just want to point that out, that we have been able to accomplish 5 already of those 7 items that were overwhelmingly majority voted from the Budget Committee. So I think that that goes a long way. I will say I question Mrs. Coutret's stipend issue as far as for the classified staff, but we'll see what happens.
We have some updates. I have a question, Karen. I just want to make sure I'm understanding the proposal correctly. And in order to fully fund the 10% raises for all teachers, all certified, and to give the 5% for classified, and to do the other things that we've prioritized in our proposed budget, we are already dipping into our reserves. Is that correct?
No. At this time,
Because it said there was like
Yeah,
50,000
we
or
are.
something.
Well, it's M&O. We're taking money out of our M&O.
No, there's money from the reserves
But that
too. It's like
M&O is our reserved fund. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's,
anything
we're
left
taking
over.
that out to cover the 10% raise.
Right.
Only-
Well, all of it. We're covering, to cover the
Well,
total
the
bill.
1% inflation increase covers the 5%.
Right, but I mean, it's a big pot of money
Yes,
covering
huge
a
pot of
big
money.
pot of expenses. I don't think
Correct.
there's one, I don't think we're saying oh, this specific piece of money we're getting is funding this specific thing. It's all of these things together are able to fund all of these things.
Correct.
But my question is, because on the, and now my computer went into lock mode. It said that we are taking some money out of M&O.
Yep, 25,940.
Thank you. Okay, yeah.
okay, I'm sorry, where was your question?
Next one.
Because I think I was misunderstanding what you were
Oh,
considering
okay.
reserves.
Next one. This one, where it says M&O fund balance carry forward. So that's not new money, right? All of those other things are new
Correct.
monies.
That's
existing
That will
money.
be the money that we did not expend this year. And
Right.
that's- And we won't know what that exact amount will be until the close of the books
Right.
in October.
Right.
Yes. So that, when you were saying reserve, I was thinking of our reserve funds like our impacting money,
Oh.
those kind of things.
Right.
But no, this is what we're hoping that we will be carrying over at the end of the year when we close our books come October.
Great, thank you. But to that end, we're in new expenditures, we're already spending more than we're taking in new money, and that's why I'm hesitant to do, anything else. And even in regards to a stipend, if we stipend them 2% this year, and then next year we give them a 2% raise, they've gotten nothing different.
Right.
So how does that help them?
Well, I think it's nice that we've been able to do 5% for classified staff, where originally, had we not had the increase from the state, everybody would have only realistically gotten 2%. So really, they're already ahead of the game. So we do what we can do, and I'm excited that we were able to do 5% and 10%. And I know that it's just going to be more and more each year. We can't catch up all in one year, but this is a great start.
And if you would look back at the first page of the PowerPoint, if you'll notice, if you look under your revenue in the first section and your expenditures in the second, the general budget amount is the amount of our maintenance and operations expenditures. Those include all your salaries as well as what we anticipate we're going to need to just keep up the district going. And he has that balanced.
Right.
So he's not, at this point, Aaron has put a lot of thought in this, and he put the statement down on the bottom that the board did approve raises, positions, stipends, and reclassifications, and he has incorporated those
Right.
into this budget as it is. Now, as we go through the year, if you have other directives for him, then he will look at what the status of the budget is at that time, and then he'll be able to tell you, okay, this is sustainable, or we can't even do this right now, because this is where our expenditures are at the moment. And as you go, he can give you information as we go along, which will help you make decisions toward your directives.
Thank you. And that,
I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. That's a great point. Go ahead. Keep going.
This, by law, we're required to propose a budget.
Mm-hmm.
And then by July 15th, we're required to adopt our budget.
Adopt it.
And this is specifically so that we can have an amount that we can operate with. It is then at the board's discretion on how that's going to be spent. And as I said before, if we have overestimated, then the state will require us to reduce that down. So Aaron has always been very cautious. He's not nearly as conservative as I am, but he is very cautious and watches the expenditures very well to see that we stay within our means of what we know that we're going to be able to afford for that fiscal year. And he does very well at projections for the future fiscal years. And he can pretty much tell whether something will be sustainable or not.
Right. Thank you. And that made me think of something else in terms of as we go forward into the next year and all of the growth that we are anticipating and the growth that we saw projected when we had our consultants come in here, that we also need to be mindful that we need to have funds available for portables and other things, because we don't know when and we're going to need those and how soon, and we want to make sure that, you know, we don't have students sitting on the lawn, especially at the high school, because we all know that it's extremely packed.
Well, that would be out of the capital fund anyways. That would be out of our capital fund. Anything like that, we'd have to do out of that. But that's something that we are going to have to start having those. We should have started already having those conversations,
Right.
and putting those in place, because it's going to take a while to get modular buildings
Yes.
installed. You know, we're going to agree to disagree. I looked at the, you know, the budget committee review, and, you know, I don't see where, you know, we did the 5%, actually we did more, but 5% for the certified and classified, we did that. We didn't do the 12-month work calendar for the secretaries. We didn't do the 12-month
Yeah, it's on
work.
there.
We did not do it.
Yes, it's on here. It's secretaries and custodians went to 12 months.
It's there, we've made allowances
Yeah.
for the opportunity to do 12-month.
For those that-
It isn't a change in their notice of appointment. It is an opportunity to work 12 months if
That's
they
per
Correct.
seek it.
per
or
school
if
site,
their
if they want,
site
if the
Correct.
site wants to spend the money on that, that's on the site fund. It's not on their HR, it's not on their contract. So they're not guaranteed that money. So some secretaries may get that opportunity and some may not. That depends on site. We've made some progress with nursing, but we really didn't hit a lot of these except for the staff, the raises. And so when I look at this list, and I think, you know, these are great ideas, and I think it's something that we should still consider, but to say the statement that we hit most of these when we didn't, I don't agree with. I'm going to stick with my guns. I really think that 5% is a huge difference between our classified and our certified. And I would just like to see it a little bit. I'd like to close the gap a little. Even if it's just a one-time shot, I'd like to close the gap a little.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
I would just like to say that I think, you know, I like what Board Member Dutray is, you know, bringing up, and I think that we do want to close some of those gaps. But I think where my mind's at, I just think that right where we are now is just an issue of sustainability, you know, with the budget and, you know, how sustainable, you know, are we if we were to add, you know, because I think we're as lean as we can already, and so I think that that's important and for that sustainability. I think that it's, you know, definitely our goal and our mission to close those gaps. And I think, you know, we're probably one of the best districts in the state that is doing a great job of putting our money for more raises for not just the teachers but other staff. And so I just think right now where we are with even some uncertainties and what's going on, that I think that sustainability is really important. So I think we're as lean as we can, and if we get any leaner, then we will get into more sustainable, issues. So that's my thought.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. I appreciate your comments, Mrs. Cotray, and of course, I would love to fulfill every item on the Budget Committee and fund every one of them. Obviously, we would all do that if we had the money to do it. But this is the money that we've been given, and I think some things changed from when the Budget Committee met to when we got this proposed budget, and it was 50,000 teachers marched on the state capitol lawn. And so in light of that, I fully support our budget to give teachers a 10% raise and give classified staff the 5%, even if it means we have to forego some other priorities, because it was a historic year and a historic event, and I think that we need to honor that with this proposed budget.
I agree with that. So, Karen, when do you need the approval for the proposed budget? So July 15th is when we have to approve the adopted budget.
Right.
So what's the deadline for this proposed budget?
It has to be approved 10 days prior to the adoption of 10 days prior to the adopted budget. We have to go to public hearing for the adopted budget, and the dollar amount of accepting the proposed budget,
Yeah.
the dollar amount is not going to change.
Right.
You can change where you want the funds directed. So if you were to approve this budget tonight and you decided you wanted to see more money put in
Right.
salaries and benefits than in someplace else, you can do that on the adopted. This basically gives us the dollar amount of the budget we're going to be working with.
Okay.
Great. So we need to,
The answer to your question would be 10 days, so we would have to have another board meeting.
before our
Before
meeting
the
in July where
15th.
we adopt the budget.
The proposed has
We
to be
have to
approved by
propose,
the
we have
board.
to
We have to
vote on
do
it
the-
tonight.
So are you comfortable with that, Mrs. Cotray? Because or would you like an extra board meeting?
No. No.
Okay. Thank you. So do I have a motion?
So I'd like to motion to approve the proposed 18-19 budget.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are now on to item 7C, discussion and possible approval of the revised compensation plans for all employee groups.
Thank you, President Knorr, members of the board, Dr. Loebman. In light of our windfall from the state,
Yeah.
we are trying to do our best to bring our compensation plans into, I think, a better light, a more competitive environment. And so what we propose tonight is that we basically change all of our existing compensation plans to reflect the percentage amounts of increase that we've given to our employees. This is a great opportunity. Just highly encouraging the board to approve this. I think this will position us to be competitive, at least for the next few years, and start to get us to be able to go to places like California and the Midwest, and be able to present a real salary that is going to be attractive to our people, especially our teachers. And I'll take any questions if you have at this point in time.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Looking into your crystal ball that you have, so looking into this, and I think, sustainability is a very important issue. And I mean, obviously a lot of this is, we have good growth projections, so I mean, that's really in our favor. But to say something becomes stagnant, whatever that may be, would there be obviously there could be some sustainability issues with all the staff if become stagnant, whereas with the growth projections, then that will make this sustainable. Is that correct?
I believe first we have a commitment, Dr. Miller, from the legislature that they're going to fund this in perpetuity. So we're not looking at any, traumatic occurrences. Again, but we all were feeling the same way back in 2005 and 2006 that 2008 started. So I can't give you that assurance, but I can tell you that I believe that our legislature is committed to keep moving forward with a fairly compensating our K-12 environment. Additionally, we are growing. So yes, there is a possibility that even if legislatively they backed off, as long as we continue to grow, that those enrollment dollars, which are basically, the enrollment dollars are basically paying for our classified and our administrative salary increases this year, which is terrific. So we're very excited about that. We think growth is going to help us. It's nice to be in a district that's moving in that direction as opposed to the other one.
Yeah.
There were plenty of districts that did not offer full 10% to their teaching staff.
Right.
And that's
Correct.
part of the reason, because they were losing students.
So then what I'm hearing is your prediction is that the legislature will keep their promise, and
I am-
between that and our growth projections, then this will be sustainable.
I am highly optimistic.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we don't even know who the legislature is going to be in January.
I
They have to
know,
get
that's-
elected in
Yeah.
November, but,
Just wanted to throw
Yes.
that out there. Yes. So it looks good.
great. Any other questions for Mr. Beckett?
I
None
do
for
want to
me.
make one comment.
Sure.
We had mechanic listed twice on the classified scale there. It is actually on level 16, I believe, or no, I'm sorry, level 20, which is actually a $16 fee. So I have made the correction on the schedule that I'm going to be giving to my staff to use, but in case you see that, there are lots of figures on those documents, and I'm surprised we only found one.
Great. Thank you. Do you have a motion?
So I'd like to motion to approve the compensation plans for all employee groups.
And so before I second, do we need to motion and change that, or can we just approve as is with that exception
I think we
to
can
that?
approve that.
Okay, well, I'll second I'll second then.
Great. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7D, discussion and possible approval of the investment warrant fund transfer outside bank account resolutions. Who's speaking to this?
It's just an action item. Do we have someone who would normally read it? I can read it.
I don't think we need to read it. Is there any questions? This is the normal
Is this just?
agenda item
Is this just standard? This is the same thing we do every year?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Annual.
I mean,
Yeah.
it looked like it when I
Yeah.
read it, but I just want to make sure. Okay.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are now on item 8, adjournment.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We are now adjourned. It is 7:19 PM.